morning after the election, the promise of change and the change we need. You couldn't miss it on election night. People actually pouring into the streets to celebrate the election of a president. Emotions ran high and tears flowed. In the days after, people talking to friends and strangers alike of hope. Hope for a coming era of change from the horrors of the Bush years. Hope for overcoming racism. Hope for a new era of service to the common good. Hope. Hope that is founded on the real possibilities for fundamental change in this world is indeed precious. Dedicating your life to something higher than the ethic of, I want mine, is so vital that the future of humanity actually depends on it. And overcoming, truly overcoming, the divisions of society based on inequality and oppression must be at the heart of any real movement for social change. But now, in the dawn of the morning after, one must ask and honestly grapple with some basic and very serious questions. Hope for what? Service to what? Unity around what goals and what values? And victory for whom? The change he has promised. Barack Obama wrote in The Audacity of Hope, I am new enough on the national political scene that I serve as a blank screen on which people of vastly different political stripes project their own views. Most of those who celebrated in the streets opposed the string of wars that Bush has launched and the threats of more war. Yet Obama, through his campaign, promised to send more troops to Afghanistan. He floated the idea of attacks on Pakistan, threatened Iran, and pledged to back Israel, which to this day continues to torment the people of Palestine to the hilt. He established his reputation by opposing the launching of the war on Iraq, but has already backtracked on this during his campaign, with talk of listening to the generals and determining when Iraq was stable and its troops sufficiently trained. Most of those celebrating in the streets hate the fascism of the Bush years, the spying, the evisceration of fundamental legal rights, and the torture. Yet as a senator, Obama voted for the renewal of the Patriot Act, which abolished or seriously cut key legal rights, and for immunity for telecommunications companies, which illegally spied on people at White House behest. Most of those celebrating in the streets yearn to see an end to racism and to the oppression of black people and other oppressed nationalities. Yet Obama did not speak in his campaign of ending the discrimination and oppression that continues in a black unemployment rate that is more than double that of whites. Discrimination in housing and health care and the legal system, and an incarceration rate of black and other minority people that is the scandal of the world. No. Instead, he spoke against his former minister, Jeremiah Wright, because Wright had a view that sees white racism as endemic. Obama, in that speech, went on to say that such thinking is divisive and draws people away from the problems of two wars, a terrorist threat, a failing economy, a chronic health care crisis, and potentially devastating climate change. Thereby, in a phrase, covering over how systematic discrimination is embedded in every problem in America, and negating both the bitter ongoing oppression of black people as a people and the deep structural problems in American society that sustain this. Many of those in the streets also see Obama as sharing their values on ending the oppression of women and of gay people. Have they noted that Obama routinely characterizes abortion itself as a bad thing, even if he does not oppose the right to abortion, or how he rarely even mentioned defending this right, or how Obama, at a time when the right of gay people to marry was being attacked in electoral referendums, said that while he did not support that referendum, he at the same time opposed gay marriage itself on the basis of his own religious beliefs. Obama has said he is bringing change. He has called on you, most recently in his victory speech on election night, to both put your efforts behind him and to be patient with his administration. The question is this: judging from Obama's actual statements and not from what you think he must believe deep down, is the change that he is promising and trying to enlist you in the change we need? Or are you being enlisted in something that will end up actually opposed to your best aspirations and a morality based on the common good of humanity? Redeeming the dream? In his victory speech, Barack Obama said, "If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time, who still questions the power of our democracy, tonight is your answer." Well, many things certainly are possible in America. It is possible in America for European settlers to commit genocide against the Native American Indians who lived here, and to then declare themselves to be builders of a shining city on a hill and the last best hope of mankind. It is possible in America to kidnap over 10 million Africans and hold them and their descendants in slavery for 250 years, exploiting them as the foundation of the great wealth of this country, and then maintaining their descendants in new forms of oppression and super-exploitation, and to simultaneously brag that the dream of our founders is based on the principle that all men are created equal. It is possible in America to wage and sponsor wars and military coups over the past 150 years that have taken a toll on humanity unmatched by any of the fabled monstrous empires of the past, and to then routinely declare, as Barack Obama did in his speech, that this same country is the world's great guarantor of peace and security, even as he preceded that by assuring anybody who opposed what he called the new American leadership that we will defeat you. It is possible in America to subordinate the economies of entire nations to the demands and dictates of U.S. capital. And it is possible to then both super-exploit impoverished people from those countries who desperately seek work in the U.S., and at the same time to demonize them and scapegoat them as the cause of everyone else's hard times. It is possible to torture in the name of safety, even as you assure the world that you don't. But apparently, other things are not possible in America. It has not been possible in America to actually do away with the structures of white supremacy and the oppression of entire peoples. It has not been possible in America to desist from sending troops, CIA spies, and commandos all over the world. Nor has it been possible to avoid things like killing 40 civilians in a wedding party in Afghanistan on the day before the election, which installed a man who has promised to send more troops to invade that tortured, beleaguered country. It has not been possible in America to actually overcome the subjugation of women in every sphere of life, or to end the demonization and systematic discrimination against gay people. It has not been possible for America to refrain from the heedless plunder and spoliation of the very planet on which we live. It has not been possible in America to overcome the deadening alienation of everyday life for most people, or the despair of seeing your best efforts come to naught for many of those who want to dedicate themselves to making things better. What has been proven to be possible and what is proven to not be possible has nothing to do with human nature and everything to do with the system that was put in place to ensure the dreams of the founders. The name of that system is imperialism, a stage of capitalism in which the majority of humanity are consigned to short, bitter lives of almost indescribable exploitation, humiliation, and degradation, in which entire nations are subjugated to deepen and extend that exploitation, and in which the entire world is divided up amongst a handful of big imperialist powers, with the U.S. currently at the head of that. That is the system which actually determines what is and what is not possible. That is the system Barack Obama is now stepping in to head. That is the system to whose service he now summons you.